So, welcome everyone to Showing Up and Keeping It Real, conversations about what it means to put yourself out there and out here. Hello everyone for joining us. I am Andrea Maxine, Healing and Coaching, and I'm with my dear friend, Abby Keen Healing. And today we're going to be talking about dropping the perfectionist mask, or in other words, getting real about your tendency to want to do it perfectly and move through the resistance of imperfection. So I think we can both attest, Abby and I, that we work through this one on a regular basis, in our own process, in our own work, but also with the clients that we serve. And I think everybody, most humans on the planet are seeking love and belonging and approval, and we want to be liked, we want to be included, we want to be accepted, and there is obviously going to be natural abiding fears about what it means to share authentically, really open oneself to possible rejection if we're not good enough, if we're not perfect enough. And I think even just doing this live, and we're not advanced techie people. We use Instagram in a very basic way, and we're doing the best we can, and we're just really invested and interested in having real, authentic conversations about what it means to bring yourself out into deeper, meaningful relationships, whether that's in your business for your creative and professional work, your healing work, or if it's just simply on a personal level in your relationships with those that are your loved ones. So it translates for me both in the professional sphere, but also very much in the personal. So, Abby, you were talking about what you notice most in terms of the challenge we hit along the way for yourself and your clients. And I was wondering if you can talk a little bit about how this pattern of perfectionism shows up, and what you notice is sort of the underlying layers to unpacking this for yourself, and maybe also the process that you use with clients.
Yeah, thank you. I think, well, this is a big topic, so we're just taking a little bite. So I just want to put that out there because there's many reasons and many layers. But one of the things that I'm noticing the most that is really under this perfectionism for myself, because I've tasted it in my own skin, and this is something that I help my clients with, is the sense that as I am, as we are, I am not enough. That I am not enough. I'm not good enough. I don't have what it takes. I'm an imposter. They'll find me out. And from that place, that deep, deep wound of not enoughness, it's really hard to express myself and put myself out there, because if I believe I'm not enough, and now I'm putting this not enoughness out to the universe, now you get to see that I'm not enough, and you'll find me out, And so how can we even share that? This is way too vulnerable to share from that place. So I think then we start to strive for perfectionism, because that's the ideal. And if I can only be perfect, then I'll be ready to put myself out there. Mm-hmm. Then I'll be good enough to put myself out there. Yes. Then I'll have what it takes. And then, only then can I. And so because there isn't such thing as perfect does not exist, nor should it exist, we just don't do it then, because we cannot get to this ideal that we strive for. So it gives us this fantastic excuse to also just not do it. And by not doing it, meaning putting ourselves out there, we can keep safe in our little cocoon and in our comfort zone. And the thing is, nobody's perfect. And that is the beauty of it. So can that be, in a way, can that be the ideal? Can the ideal be showing up imperfectly in sharing ourselves in this very imperfect way? Like, yes, we're not techie. Yes, we're just showing up here. Yeah, we're just being ourselves. Can that be enough? And by sharing from that place of, I don't know, but let me try, you know, can that open actually a deeper communication where
Yes.
I'm a little less masked, a little bit more myself, and a little bit more inviting that kind of vulnerability in?
Yeah, and I wonder, what would you say, when we start to recognize that what's keeping us from taking action, when the procrastination or the resistance, right? Like for me, I find that it shows up even when I'm writing,
Mm-hmm.
let's say like a newsletter or some form of communication. I'm writing something and I want to say the exact right thing or have a concept in my mind, and the words are not connecting with the concept. So I'm in a writer's block, or I'm in writer's block / resistance, creative resistance. I know for me, what has helped is recognizing that I'm pushing against myself, right? That I'm pushing, one, maybe not wanting to feel the resistance, and I just want to get the piece done. I want to push it further, faster. I want to get it done. I have a deadline. I want a result. And so I'm pushing myself to get that result and further increasing the refusal to be with a part of myself that may have some hesitation about expressing what's really deeper underneath, what's really the heart and soul of the piece, right? I have to slow myself down to really get in touch with what's really going on within me that is afraid to say or to write about or to share about, whatever the topic is actually the gateway into the piece itself, right? So working the process of my own creative block usually offers me way more insight into what I'm writing about than trying to force a concept onto the page. So I wonder if you could speak also to that place of when that place, that block, which I think is so valuable. We tend to get really pissed off about our blocks. We get angry, we get annoyed, we get frustrated. For sure, it's frustrating, yes, because the flow is blocked. We feel blocked. We feel incapable of following through on the creative urge that we feel so deeply. And so I'm curious what your process is around that block. What do you do? Because I know you're a writer as well, and your writing has flourished over the years. I've seen you really come fully through into your writing. And I know I saw the behind the scenes of you really coming into your voice as a writer. And it wasn't a straight line, there were many and it is that, right? It's a curvy, windy road. But I'm curious, what do you feel helps you move through the block the most?
Andrea, I just love what you were saying before, and that's why I'm so smiling at you right now, because it is so true that this thing that we think is an obstacle on our way to the place where we want to go, like, why are you there stopping my flow, is the gift itself. And we are so busy trying to get somewhere that we just don't realize that we've been handed this amazing gift. Like you were saying before, this was your way in.
Yeah.
That place where you got slammed, and like, this is your way into a deeper layer of yourself, which will make, in that moment, will make your writing so much more potent. But in the moment, it feels like, oh my God, what is it? I don't want to be here. This is this does not taste good.
Right.
So the gem is that thing that you're trying to avoid the most, and I love it. So thank you for that. Um, I feel like, and you've kind of said it between the lines too. I feel that first and foremost, we have to shine the light of awareness onto what's really going on for me right now.
Yeah.
For example, we're doing this live. This is new for me, for you, for me. And knowing myself, like we'll be done with that and I'll maybe ruminate and I'll go in my head like, what did I say? And how did I sound? And how did I look? And all these places that feel very vulnerable and kind of like, what will they think? Feeling. And one of the ways is like, oh, wow, I really care. Wow, I really, really care what others think of me. Wow, there's a part of me that is so fragile and really wants other human beings to approve of me. And maybe if I take it more, like slightly more deeply, I'm going to find like, wow, why can't I not give it to myself? There's a part of me that can't give myself this validation that, I have value, that I am of value. And just to shed the light of awareness into those places that are really tender, that really, really care. I think also for me, one of the things that really has helped me, because I really care what others think, and to the point where I feel like in my life it has stopped me a lot of putting my voice out there. So I've been working on it a lot, and I've been working with clients on that a lot. Is like really starting to pinpoint with that, flashlight of awareness. Who are they? Who do I really care? Like when you start to really get specific, it's a little shocking who I care about. Like really, like why do I care about what she thinks of me? Like we're not even friends. It's just so interesting to start nailing down the who. Who are they that I so care about? So I feel like putting more and more awareness into how this behavior is working in me and these considerations, and really airing them out and unraveling to see, okay, who, why, how is this working on me, has been super, super helpful. And having a sense of humor too about it is super helpful. But I would say that one of the ways that has helped me the most, and the tool that has helped me the most, and that I like to bring into sessions with clients is to come back to the why. Why am I doing this? Why am I here with you, Andrea, today to share something?
Yeah.
I am passionate about this. And if I can remember why I'm passionate about helping other people come out of hiding and show themselves and express their truth, when I can remember my own passion, maybe it can trump my fear of being seen. So constantly coming back to, can my passion for this and my sort of this feeling that this is important to me, can that trump this feeling of fear and not enoughness? And so when I go into the not enoughness and the fear, one of the ways to help myself come out of it, and I found that has been helpful for my clients, is to shift the focus and the attention and the energy from the I'm not enough, I'm too scared, I can't do it, to, oh, I really care about that. And if I really care about that, maybe I really want to share it because I think it's so important. Shifting that perspective has helped a lot. And I'm wondering about you, because you gave me a fantastic example before we went live.
Yes. Well, I love the way you describe how the connecting to the deeper why helps you, or the way I'm understanding it, helps you hold both the fear which is, it's not about releasing or erasing fear, right? Courage is not without fear. And so to me, what it looks like is the bigger purpose, holding the younger part of ourselves that did risk being seen and may not have been met where we needed to be met. And so, I know for me, every new project, that aspect, that tightness in my throat will come up, guaranteed, right? The next new class or the next new piece or the next new program, I will feel the tension rise in my body. And when I investigate a little further, there's a very tender place of fear in the body, right? And we talked about this last week, how we both work with the body in our coaching practices. This isn't just about a mindset shift. This is really about a full embodied shift. And I love the way, returning to the bigger picture of why this work is important to you can hold both the fear and support the action that you're taking. So you're not immobile, you're moving along, even with the real feelings that may be concerned about what others think. And as you were explaining that, I thought of, a couple of examples, but one of the things that has helped me the most is remembering that when I actually truly express from the real place within myself, I am more likely to connect to a real place in the heart, mind, and body of a person that is going through that very same thing. Like I always think about, there's someone out there who is having this experience that when we work our own individual unique process, we are healing that particular thread on a collective level. So it's a contribution to a collective healing. When we go deeply into our own process, we're actually supporting that aspect in the community and the people we know or don't know. But if I can step into the light with a little bit of courage and say the thing, it's remarkable. The response is always much more than I anticipate. It's much more rich and full and heartfelt and human than I can ever, in any way predict or anticipate. So one is, yes, usually when I'm writing, I'm thinking about who am I writing to? Who is the person that this is for? And in effect, it's also for a part of myself that I'm writing to. And the other thing that we were talking about.
So hold on, let me ask you a question just quickly. So when you write, so what you mean is, if you keep this person in mind, then you can write out of like being in service and to them, and rather than, ooh, I want to write because I'm going to sound so good and people will think I'm amazing.
Right.
So you really like keep it in service.
Yeah, I think I think that when I feel I'm trying to get it right, and say the perfect thing, I know I am stuck and I'm not in the feeling of the piece anymore. I'm not connecting to the deeper level of human experience. So it feels less connected. And so usually at that point I have to wait a little bit longer. Like sometimes it'll come straight away depending upon what it is that I'm writing about. But often when it feels like I'm trying too hard to prove a concept, I know I have to slow down and reconnect with the felt sense of the process that's unfolding around the topic, right? So let's say that it's about unwinding perfectionism, and then noticing how the perfectionist operates in me.
As at the time of writing, like in the
Yes.
moment, live, yeah.
Yes, exactly. And then noticing how that aspect of myself is perhaps keeping me safe by telling me no, don't go any further, but also how it's preventing me from fully expressing myself and what wants to be expressed through me. And how is that a risk, right? How is that creation a risk? And then what do I need to support taking that risk with an imperfect action?
Mm-hmm.
So you were saying, we were talking a little bit before this, like, instead of doing it perfectly, can we just do it?
Right.
And, you know, I announced earlier that I opened a Substack account, which I've been talking about for a little while, or at least talking to myself about. And I'm procrastinating. And I said, you know what? I don't know how to set it up, but I'm at least going to set up my account. I have my email in there. And then I shared it. And I realized that there's all these other things you can do to complete your profile. And so there's nothing on there. It's not perfect at all. I would say it's very rudimentary. It's not completed at all. It's not ready for anyone's eyes. And yet I put it up there, right? So, and I don't know how I feel about that. I'm still reeling from, oh no, you know, if people go there, they're not going to know what it's about. So I have my homework cut out for me in terms of setting it up. But I think the act itself is such a great practice for getting out of our comfort zone and moving the needle forward, moving ourselves further along towards the goals that we actually have. Now, if it were, you know, something more involved, like a group coaching program, I would be planning like months in advance. But even so, there are actions that you take along the way that are never, ever, ever going to meet the expectations of the perfectionist. And it is always kind of riding that balance between, do I have enough of myself here to take the action, even though I know it's going to be incomplete according to my perfectionist? Because the perfectionist wants like a foolproof plan.
Yeah. And I realized something as you spoke, because I'm thinking about myself, like, I don't know how many years ago you told me that you're going to do a Facebook Live. And I thought, oh, sorry, my phone keeps falling. And I thought, oh my God, she's crazy. You know, how can you, oh my God, how can she have the courage to do that? And so what comes to mind, like, take two, here we are, we're doing an Instagram Live. Okay, we're doing it. Yeah, whatever. And so what I want to add to this too is, like, things that are very scary can become not so scary, but they won't become not so scary unless we start doing them. Like, the hardest is to do something the first and the second time, and then it's okay, and you've done it, been there, and now it's fine, and off to the next challenge. Things don't stay the same, but they will stay the same if no action is taken. So better that imperfect action. Actually, it's always going to be imperfect, but better that imperfect. Oh my gosh. I'm just going to hold this in my hand. Better that imperfect action than not doing it. And so what I find a lot with the women that I work with or talk to, not the one I work with, but a lot that I talk to, is that they wait for the perfect time to do that thing that they want to do. And because that never is going to happen, because it's always going to be hard at first.
Yeah. There's that common belief that, like, I can only put something out there if I'm feeling good, or I'm embodying, you know, the confidence. And yes, I think confidence is important, but you're not always going to feel, you're not always going to feel the confidence, you know. I think there's like, and I think that's why our inner our connection to the way we feel guided on a deeper soul level matters so much. Like, I think this is really the distinguishing factor is, like, there's no amount of strategy or advice that you're ever going to get that is going to, take away the doubt. It's more about using the strategies you try to figure out how your soul likes to work and likes to creatively express itself, like what is really wanting to come through you, and listening to that and trusting that regardless of what other people are doing or what other people tell you you should be doing. It matters so much more when you have that inner alignment, right? And you go, okay, I know this is going to be imperfect, but I have enough of myself within myself, and I feel guided enough to take this next step. And I think in that moment, we welcome ourselves deeper inside our own inner authority. We welcome ourselves deeper at home within ourselves when we could say, okay, I have enough of myself to know why I'm doing this, for that to lead the way. So we're not talking about just, showing up recklessly, right? Because that doesn't really build, I don't know, maybe it does, but I don't know, maybe I'm not a reckless person, or I don't know, that's the rigid part of me, right? Like, oh no, don't do reckless. But if you're looking to build a body of work, if you're looking to create something, if you're looking to really build your business, if you're looking to create a body of work, let's say, right? Like, your women are also looking to be creatively expressed. My women want to trust that their spiritual purpose can really be a guiding principle in their business development. That we have to know the boundary, that we have enough of ourselves to take the action that may be, right, perfectly imperfect, but will also move us towards the direction we want to go, right? That we're not just maybe sometimes we're flailing about, but that we are consistently showing up for ourselves and making a path with these actions. I think that's important to say, because I think what we're not saying is, oh, just, always fly by the seat of your pants. I do think that it takes discipline and focus to write a book. If you want to compile your poetry into a book that you're going to share with your family and friends, you actually need to carve out the time. You need to honor the creative urge. That doesn't mean it has to be perfect, nor will it ever feel that it is, but it will feel complete. It might not feel perfect, but it will have a fullness to it. It will have an embodiment to it. It will have a moment where you say, this is ready now to come through. This is ready to be shared. And I think that inner discernment is really important. The reason I say this is I've heard so many people be advised to overshare themselves when it does not feel good. And maybe that's a topic for another time.
Well, that was my impulse too. And in that, a topic about guidance and what does it mean to be connected to something real inside and try to move from there. So to be continued. And before we leave, sorry, I'm now that my phone has fell off where it was sitting, I have to figure out how not to have to hold it all the time. So excuse my fiddling around. Okay, here we go. You wanted to leave with a question or homework or something like that, no?
Yes. So usually you can tell, when you're procrastinating or if there's procrastination. And granted, we go through moments of deep introspection and processing, and we need those spaces. And if you have been procrastinating on taking action on something in your creative work, in your professional work, in your work on your business, whether it's marketing or connecting with a potential client, Has it been rolling around long enough that you feel the heaviness of it by not airing it out and taking action? That's kind of how I know. It's like it's holding weight. It's weighting me down. It's making me a little heavy. I feel like I know I need to take action on this and I'm not doing it, right? Can you identify one of those that's been rolling around in your consciousness that you know deep down you need to take action on? And can you take action on it without it feeling totally 100%? What imperfect action can you take this week? And seeing, kind of visualizing, taking that action, what would it bring you to have that complete, to have that checked off your to-do list? You know, sometimes it's as simple as like calling that person who may be able to refer you to give a talk at the wherever, right? Like it's like those little things on our to-do list that we leave there day after day that I want to invite you to just maybe locate one, and what would it bring you to take action on it this week?
Yeah, I love that. It's like the moments where the pain of not doing it, or the burden of not doing it, or the guilt or the heaviness of not doing it becomes worse than
Yes.
just.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for me, it's finishing a piece I've been working on the last few days. Do you have one, Abby?
Oh my God, I have so many. I have to pick and choose. I have too many. Yeah, I think mine have to do with social media, which even though we're on social media right now, I have a really difficult relationship with. So for the sake of my own why, I will finish writing some posts and things like that.
Great.
Remembering my why, and I'm not doing it just to be on social media. I'm doing it to connect with other beings heart to heart.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
And thanks to everybody who joined us today, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.